alone with you. It has come from a very young, new beginnings. So I love this Bible verse in Romans 12. Therefore I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship. Do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And it's like we looked at what the problem is. And in any issue like alcoholism, what is the problem? The ism, I, self, and me. I'm the problem. And so when we look at the problem it's my will be done is the problem. And this is where it's got me in my life. And so maybe you're somebody that's done a lot of work and has made some vast home improvements. And you've done some renos, but you still have that bedroom there that, you don't show anybody. You don't let anybody walk in. You kind of ignore it's there, except when you need it and when you need to hide stuff, you use that bedroom. So, and there's some of you that are in a war-torn house that's in the rubble and you're just standing there going, this sucks. Help me. Right? And so I look at the problem of our will. My will be done was the problem. And now I need to give God that job. God's will be done. Turn my life and my will over to the care of God. And you don't need to understand everything about him. You don't need to fully trust him. Your belief systems about him and yourself could be way off. But the goal is what is his will? And I think easily put, it can be about others. Because predominantly my will has to be about me. Right? And even though it might not all be bad, it's fear-based or it's shame-based or it's a belief system that's a total lie. Right? It's not who I am. So that is the goal. So I think as we understand our belief system, then some of the stuff that we've been talking about can make sense. Like the behavioral sequence. I know they can be confusing because it's like these automatic reactions and this is the result and, well, this is what I've always done. And I really want to change that behavior. So understanding that tape that I need to address, understanding my belief system will help that. So that's our point. So how is a belief system made up? Truth, errors, or lies, or deceptions believed as truth, the Word of God, and the spoken or prophetic Word of God. So truth as we know it, for a long time the world was flat. True or false? Prove it. Yeah, true. Right? And they've actually proved it. Right? And so that seems so weird when you think that they thought that the world was round. That wasn't that long ago. Some still do. There's a society. there is. Some still do. So there's the truth as you know it or have known it. There's errors and lies or deceptions as you believe that were true. And the Word of God, there is absolute truth. There is a designer and a creator that made us. And so there is a way that is the truth. There has to be. Where do we get truth from? And that's really what's against in our society is there shouldn't be any absolute truth. There's going to be some big problems with that. And some of the people that are grinding these axes that say there is no absolute truth because they don't want God in our lives, they want independence. If there's no absolute truth, there's going to be things that they don't want to happen that will have to happen. And you're already seeing glimpses of it. We're killing old people, we're killing babies. And there'll be some very unhealthy, sick relationships if this keeps going the way it's going. So, we believe that there's truth, absolute truth, and the Word of God, the Bible, will explain all that. So it's like, how do you know you have a rotten apple? How do you know what light is? You have to get it from somewhere. You have to be aware of that. So the truth of God, and then the prophetic word of God, where God can give you a message through somebody or in a picture in your mind. When you're connected spirit to spirit with God, God is so big he can come to you in your mess, which I've seen that happen in my life. I would have not acknowledged it was God. But when you're seeing little visions and I know what high visions are, believe me. And when you see things that are sobering things, or hear a voice that is guiding you in a way that gets you help. I know that the two words that changed my life, the trajectory of my whole life was in my head, was a little movie, and God, and I will acknowledge that it was God, that he says, I'm okay. 2 words. My parents, you know how many words my parents gave me? Change your life, get out of the house. We love you. What have we done so wrong? Turn away from your evil ways. 2 words. I'm okay. Crazy how that truth can change someone's life and start to change the belief system. So a belief system sets our values, our morality, right and wrong, just knowing what is right and wrong, what is good and bad. There's a big fight for that now. Morality used to come out of behavioral. It was behavioral, like that's bad, and which is really bad because there was people that were killed for having babies out of wedlock, and that's not long ago. And there's people that would have to leave their country in the civilized world to have a baby, and that kind of thing. Now morality has changed into likes and approvals. And you'll see this really, the biggest new trend now is I will buy or go to something with enough likes or recommendations. And so we as a society are actually giving a moral standard and what we spend our money on how many responses this product or this Airbnb or this driver isn't it crazy? When you think about that, you're like, oh, Google reviews, eh? Isn't that interesting how the shift has shifted? Shifting shifts. Goals. Belief system sets our values and our goals, our plans, how we want to retire, what we do for breaks and vacations, our aims, what we want to achieve, our ambitions, desires of achievements. I want to become an Olympic athlete or a model or a business owner. So that's my ambitions. How do I get there? That's my belief says that's what I need to be, and that can be cultural. And then what is precious to us? Family, education, money, sex, prestige. Where our belief systems come from. Obviously our parents, our guardians, our educational system, social, cultural, economical, environmental, religious, political, sickness, trauma, adversity, and media. And I'm sure there is more ways that our belief systems can be altered, but that's a general list. Where our belief systems work. So our belief systems obviously work in our thoughts. That's our will, right? And our minds, our intellect, our behaviors, our attitudes, our motivation, our priorities, lifestyle choices, what we do, because what we think is what we'll end up doing, right? If I think that it's very important to have this type of prestige, then I have to go to this type of school, right? And I have to get this type of degree and this type of program, right? And you look at across the board, it's pretty even playing now. You can go get a 6-year degree or start on a job site and make around the same amount of money now, right? Some of these trades are paying 40, 50, 60 bucks an hour. But my belief system says that's not prestigious. Obsessions, phobias, defense mechanisms, and behavioral cycles. So truth and lies, how our belief systems are formed. Where do lies come from? Lies come from wrong information. Education. If you look at some of the educational, there's some of the things that I actually learned in school, and science has actually proved them wrong, and it's coming from science and